Friends, I'm Savannah Campbell from Campbell Creates Readers. I'm a K to 5 interventionist, and this will be my 11th year coming up. And I want my job to not exist. As an interventionist, I would love it if nobody ever needed my help. So, what I want to do today is I want to talk directly to you, kindergarten parents. If your child is coming up into kindergarten this year, I know how scary it can be. Number one, your baby's going to school for possibly the first time and you can't be there with them all day. And as the mother of a 2-year-old, I get it, trust me. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you about these five things that I think you could do at home to really help your child become successful this year. They might be a little bit different from the advice you've been given before, but they're the things that I, as an interventionist, wish parents could do with their children at home. The first tip is this, and it's not more of an action, but more of a mindset. The first tip is do not expect your children to be fluent readers by the end of the year. For kindergarten, my goal is not to have children reading books at the end of the year. There are all these other fundamental foundational skills that our children need before they can read. And the thing is, if we take time to build the foundational skills that I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, then the reading will come much easier and much quicker when they're ready. But don't push your children into books before they're ready to read them. Continue to read out loud to your children and continue to talk about books. And that is a powerful, powerful thing you can do for your children. Tip number two, practice sounds. Did you know that what we call phonemic awareness is one of the two best indicators of how well children will learn to read? Phonemic awareness is this. Phonemic awareness is the ability to manipulate individual sounds in speech. Why does that matter and what can you do at home? It matters because we cannot do in a book something that we can't do out loud. When we are reading a text, what we do almost instantaneously is we look at a word, we decide the sounds, we blend it, and we have that word, right? It's instant for us. But children don't start off with that instant word recognition. So at home, practice some phonemic awareness activities. Practice taking sounds apart and putting them back together. You could say a word like cat and see if your child can tell you the different sounds. K, at. You could say a word like fish, see if they could tell you the sounds. Ish. You could also take it the opposite way. Start with the sounds and have them bring the sounds together to create a word. So you could say k, at, and have your child say cat. I have some free phonemic awareness homework that will actually help you do that. I'm working on creating it for the entire year, but I'll make sure I link it in the comments, okay? Simply work with your child on sounds a little bit every day, and I promise you, this simple activity is so incredibly powerful. Number three, I want you to get lined paper with a dotted midline. This is a simple one. For kindergarten, you want them to have the paper that has the two solid lines at the top and the bottom, and then a dotted midline. And the reason we want that is because we want it to help with letter formation. And 3 and 4 are kind of going to be coming in together. So number 4 is this. Practice proper letter formation. This is the time in a child's educational career when we have got to focus on making those letters correctly. You know what I'm talking about. We've all seen the kids that make an E like, look, it's like Herculean efforts. They should be in the Olympics for the moves that they're doing, right? So we want to make sure that our children are making letters the correct way. Why? Because when you have to do extra effort for every individual letter, it starts to build up. And then you're taxing yourself as you're writing. Proper letter formation helps you to not get exhausted when you're writing. So when it comes to the lined paper and it comes to the proper letter formation, reach out to your child's teacher. I bet you anything that they have lined paper they will send home, and they might have a letter formation guide for you to use too. If they do not, I want you to just Google Foundation's letter formation guide. It's a very helpful one that I have sent home with parents a lot. Okay. And then number 5, this is going to be a hard one. Ditch the sight word flashcards. I know, trust me, I get it. But here's what I want you to know. When we are reading words, we're not memorizing them by shape or anything like that. It's really about, do we know the sounds that those symbols make? So when it comes to recognizing words by sight, What we want to do is we want to make sure that we are paying attention for our children to the way that letters do make sense before we talk about the way that they don't make sense. So, what I mean is this: I personally, if I had a child at home, I wouldn't even practice high frequency words or sight words until they knew all of their letter sounds. I just wouldn't do it. So let's talk about a different method you could use called the heart word method. And with the heart word method, what we're doing is we are paying attention to the way that sounds do work. So let's take the word from. From has four sounds. um, and three of those four sounds work the way they're supposed to, the er, So we don't have to just memorize those. The only sound that doesn't work is this sound. So what I do is I put a heart above it like this, and we practice for mm. And this could become a note card if you wanted to, but not just the kill and drill with the typical sight word flashcards. Make sure you're doing something where you're paying attention to how sounds do work and how they don't work. Go over my 5 tips again. Number one, don't expect your kiddos to be reading books by the end of the year. That's not our goal in kindergarten. Number two, practice sounds. Practice taking them apart and putting them back together. 3 and 4, get yourself some 3-lined paper, practice proper letter formation, and reach out to your child's teacher. And number 5, ditch the sight word flashcards, use the heart word strategy. And friends, reach out to me at any time. You can email me at campbellcratesreaders@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I am here for you. I am extraordinarily passionate about helping children become proficient readers. Thank you for all you do. I'll talk to you another day.